Meet Jackie Job, a noted choreographer of South Africa and a well-known contemporary dance performer. She has performed for Nelson Mandela and the Dutch royal family. Constant learner, Jackie is particularly renowned for her Butoh-inspired work, a Japanese contemporary dance form. In her maiden visit to God's own country, Jackie fell in love with Kerala, its culture, the warm generosity, and the food.
I felt incredibly calm. I feel very calm in India, and I find that quite interesting because things look a bit chaotic. It's like cars are driving, but I feel very, very calm. So there's this wonderful energy, I think, touched by the food. Also, besides the taste, it's the generosity that came out of the garden. That's just very, very simple, but I find quite very beautiful, very generous, very, very generous. Yeah, I guess that's my impression of Kerala, is the generosity and this calm, a very calm generosity. It's not like forcing, that I find quite beautiful. I definitely want to come back and bring my family with me and explore more villages. I was even saying it would be interesting to do a performance work through all the villages and leave the mainstream theatres and just do villages. I think that could be really something wonderful to explore. Oh, I got addicted. I got completely addicted. Kalarippayattu was, I didn't expect, I'm not a morning person, really. Not that I'm in a bad mood, but my body feels very old in the morning. And the classes start at 6 a.m. and I was, I don't know if I can do it, 6 a.m., but I managed the first morning and I felt fantastic after, really. I never danced on a clay floor before. I have very sensitive feet. So I'm always protecting my feet. I'm very careful with where I put my feet, if the floor is not sprung, etc. And when I spoke to the teacher, I said to him, do you mind if I wear my shoes? And he said, I don't mind, but you'll find that the clay is quite soothing. And he was right. My feet never got hurt. It was very, very energizing. I felt so good in my body after the class. It's definitely something that I would like to pursue, and I think it's a martial art form. I'd like to work with artists like that. The movement style sits very well with contemporary dance. What I like about Butoh and why I was attracted to it is because my solo work was all about hybrid identity and all about creating a body of work, as in a repertoire of work, but also the body in work that you cannot define, that you cannot place, you cannot say it's one thing only. So full of contradictions, full of paradoxes. And so the philosophy of my work kind of gelled very nicely with Butoh. And through Butoh, I was able to pull more of my own contradictions out of my dance. Well, I think the one thing to say is that I was backstage when Nelson Mandela walked into the theatre. So everyone was already seated in the theatre, including the royal family. They were already there, and Nelson Mandela made his entrance, and I was backstage and I had goosebumps. The entire theatre, the front of house, the backstage area was just energized. And we all felt something, and then looked on the screens and, Nelson Mandela is in the house. So that was really special. It was the second time that I was in a theatre where he was. In Cape Town also, it was a very similar feeling. He walked into the theatre, the lights were down already, and he was the last one to come in, and everyone just stood up. And this energy. And the same in the Royal Carré Theatre in Amsterdam. When he walked, we felt the energy backstage, and the entire house stood up. So that incredible respect and that he had. And then, of course, the performance was really interesting. Just yesterday I was telling someone the story of, we were told that he was a bit frail, and so he had, he needed assistance walking, and that he was losing his eyesight. And when I walked onto the stage to perform, I stood center stage and I was directly opposite him, and I did like a bow. I greeted him and he bowed back and I realized he could see me. So that was quite, I was like, all right, so he's definitely going to see everything of the performance. Well, I speak English is my first language, and Afrikaans, those are the two languages I grew up with. Afrikaans is similar to Dutch, and that comes from our Dutch colonization. However, the Dutch, they laugh when they hear us speaking Afrikaans because it's a very old Dutch. So I speak English, Afrikaans, and then just because of my travels and having spent time in Europe, I speak German. I did a lot of work in Germany, and then because of living in Japan, I speak Japanese, and my husband's French, so I speak French. The indigenous languages, the other South African languages is what I need to brush up on.